Hey everybody, I'm JC here with my lovely assistant Kara. She's going to be helping me put together and assemble the E35 Sole E35 elliptical machine. So in the unboxing video, as you saw before, you saw how it was to take it out of the box. Now we're putting it together, and we're also going to do a review in my third video. So first unboxing, hope you watched that. Now this is going to be the assembly of the E35, and this is the 2014 model, so it's pretty similar to 2018, and it's still great quality, and you can buy this at Dick's Sporting Goods. We're going to time how long it takes to put this machine together, this Sole E35 2014 model, and I heard it takes about 2 hours, but we shall see. Depends on how fast you want to go and how skilled you are and how good you are at reading the instructions. But the manual here is actually very detailed, picture by picture, step by step, and all the instrumentation as well as tools are labeled 1, 2, 3, and 4 with all the tools included. So it should be pretty easy. If you can read and take your time and have patience, you can do it. So I'm going to start the timer, and at the end we'll tell you how fast it took at a normal pace, reading instructions, and then put it together. And starting right now, it's approximately 6:32 my time in Tennessee. So we have step 1, which is the hardware step, and this step actually entails the incline rail and the console mass. As you can see, myself and Kara are putting the two pieces of the bottom machine together, and while we're doing that, we need 2 people to adjust it to line up and also put in 4 bolts. So the first thing we did is actually put the wires together, which took about 5 minutes. But I have styrofoam supporting here the actual machine so it's not hitting the ground or using the cardboard box. I'm going to speed frame everything else, and so we'll see how long it takes. Next, I'm getting more of the bolts for the machine, and I'm installing those bolts along the bottom part to connect the 2 pieces together. There's approximately 4 bolts and 4 nuts and washers. Those bolts and nuts took quite a while to put on, so you'll see that I'm taking quite a large amount of time to put those bolts on, but I highly recommend using I would say a ratchet wrench, not a regular wrench that comes with it. There's wrenches that come with the machine, but I would highly use a ratchet set, a 10mm ratchet set to tighten the bolts. Maybe use a wrench on one side and a 10mm ratchet on the other, just because I feel that it'd be so much quicker. Because while I was putting the bottom pieces on, it kept coming off the wrenches. Next, as you see the console is still step 1, and you got to feed the wire through the console using the attached wire tie. There's about a 12-foot, or not 12-foot, sorry, but there's a 2-foot wire tie that comes with the machine connected. You got to take that off and attach it to the wire and feed that through the console. As you can see, I'm a little confused trying to read how to get the wire tie on there. And you need 2 people to do this, because without it, it would be quite the mess to feed it through. Without the wire tie, it is quite difficult to get the wire through the mass of the machine and slide it straight on. And be careful with this. Make sure that shroud cover is on first on the bar, and then you slide it straight down. Then the wires come through the console. Make sure that it doesn't fall through. I tied the wire tie to the top of the console frame so that it wouldn't fall back through. And there are bolts, 2 nuts and 2 bolts. And they take a while because they are special nuts where you have the nylon and lock nuts. That's what they're called. And this video was done basically in real time, but I speeded it up really quickly so that you guys can kind of get an idea. It was over 3.5 hours long, the assembly. But now next, this is the part that was one of the hardest, is the console mass. This was really a pain. There's over 6 to 8, I believe there's 6 screws in the back, and you see that with the 6 screws in the back, it took quite a while. There's machine nuts or machine screws, as well as machine screws with flat tips and pointed tips. The small screws go into the middle holes, and then the larger screws go on the outside. Next is step 2 coming up. Step 2 is the handlebars. And that's going to be coming up, is the handlebars. With this step, is a little bit more tricky. You have to get adjusted so the wires actually go through. There's wires on the side of the console that actually need to go inside the actual arms. So you need to get those taken off, but there's wire ties on them. And those screws, or, sorry, not screws, those wires have to go inside the arms of the machine. And they connect with interlocking plastic clips. So all the wires on the machine actually connect with plastic clips, which is great because it's like the computer clips like you find in your wire harnesses and in your cars. Very similar type of wires are used in this machine, and it is very tricky. If you make a mistake, you're gonna have to take it apart and go back and do it again. It's better to get it right the first time, read twice, and do once. And what I'm trying to do right now is trying to take off the material on the bottom, and then I'm attaching the bottom arm to the bottom bracket. That's the wheel housing. So I'm attaching the wheel housing basically and to the bracket. So you can see the wheels are moving on a track, and the track has a ball bearing inside of it in the front end, and that's attaching to the arm, the bottom of the arm, where that has a ball bearing inside of it as well. And that's tightened up and snugly. Make sure it's not too tight. You don't want to strip anything, but it is a workout, believe me. I was sweating going through and putting this machine together. It was quite the task, believe me. And I'm narrating this after I did the video so that you can get a good idea. So I know it's going in super speed for you, and I appreciate you watching this video because I know it's a little longer than the usual video for assembly, but normally it's at least 2 hours if you're really good, and 3.5 in my situation because the mistakes and not being familiar with the machine. But next we're putting it on the top of the arms, which have the heart rate monitor built into them, which is really great. And that is step 3, handlebar arms actually. Step 3. And with step 3 is great because this is where you know the machine is almost done. And I couldn't wait to get this step going. And we're attaching those with nuts and bolts as well that come with the machine. There's all different size nuts and bolts. Make sure you read the toolkit that comes with your machine. That toolkit is actually in order from steps 1, 2, 3, and 4. So, which is great. And all the hardware is labeled too, which I like a lot. And the manual actually has E95 as well included in it, but this is the E35 model. And most of the years are fairly similar, but the arms are slightly different. I believe after year 2013 or 14, which this model is, the arms changed a little bit, more ergonomical for use, especially for females with the shorter stature. This machine is a little bit more comfortable. The E95 though is really nice, a little bit more sturdy, heavier flywheel. And then now you can see we're putting on the second arm on the opposite side. Make sure you don't confuse them. You can't really confuse them because of the shape of them and the way they look, and the heart rate monitor's on the inside. And bolting those on as well. Those were really fun to put on as well. And at least Kara's helping me, as you see. And we're attaching the wires now to each other that are in the console as well as in the arms. And I'm reading through the instructions diligently, trying to get the hardware all assembled. There's over 100 screws and nuts with this machine, so make sure you don't get them all messed up and taking them all out at one time, and keep your parts organized. That's the main thing, is keeping your parts organized. Because if you take them all out of the plastics and out of the boxes, and it's hard to find them. The pictures will tell you, though, what size things are. The next step actually is the plastics. That is step 4, is the plastics. And I'm going back here and just making sure the steps are in order for you. While I'm editing the video, I did a narration so that you can get a good understanding of how the machine was put together. Now the plastics go on. So the plastics are a little bit tricky just because they are shaped a certain way and they only go on one way, which is a good thing. But if you're not sure on how to put the plastics on by looking at the picture or the video or from the manual, then it's best to contact customer service or go and on the website, and they'll show you a little bit more on how to use it. And if you go on soletreadmills.com, SOLE treadmills.com, you'll find all the instructions on as well on there. So I'm putting on the covers right now for the arms, the bottom part arms, to cover the wires, and there's little rubber inserts, and then you put the covers on. The inserts go inside the machine where the wires are to cover them up, and then the covers go on the outside. And my little buddy Ozzy, as you see in the video, my little Australian Shepherd, he loves to be helpful around the video. I hope he didn't distract you of watching the video, but he's my little buddy. And then my little buddy Riley was hiding. So there we go. Yep, I'm attaching the plastics on the bottom now of the actual arms, the shroud area. And this video is actually going in 1,000 times faster than normal, and it's still actually fairly long. And you could fast forward through and kind of get an idea. This is more of an assembly video with give you an idea how long it takes, as well as the basics of putting it together. I didn't break it up piece by piece with real time because it would be like a 2-hour video at least, and you don't want to watch a 2-hour video. But I do appreciate you staying connected and watching. If you're still watching, that's great. And stay tuned to the end because that's where I explain everything about the machine. And the arms and the covers. Putting the bottom covers on now. And then the back cover goes on. You will see Kara's working when the back cover goes on. That's where the incline is and where the machine goes up and down. There's 2 covers in the back actually. And I'm putting covers on the front now. And I'm working on the back covers. So those covers actually are fairly easy to put on, but there are brackets that you have to put on first onto the frame on the sides and the bottom, like I just showed you, and that's what I'm looking at right now in the manual. And you have to bolt those on first before you put on the actual plastic covers, because that helps that cover have an area where it could bolt onto, so it sticks out a little bit more, so that you can bolt the back rear cover onto it. Which is a good idea because not everything is made exactly to bolt the plastic onto it. And now we're putting on the back cover. Just as you see, there's 2 screws as well as washers. And there's a lot of instructions in the manual. The pictures are really good though. They're all numbered, and it seems to work really well. It's just that sometimes the screw size is a little confusing. Double checking, triple checking everything, making sure it's right. And there's screws on the sides now as well, connected to those brackets. And putting on the cover now again on the front shroud on the opposite side. I jumped around a little bit on putting the covers on just so I can get them done quicker, but ended up being a little slower. But either way, we got it done. The machine is a really great machine though. And the covers are basically to keep dirt out of the areas like the wheel bearings, as well as to keep dirt out of the areas like the circuit boards and areas where things could cause to malfunction. You still got to clean those areas down though. It's important too for maintenance. Make sure you read your manual on maintenance. It's really important. And I'll stress that a little bit at the end of the video as well. I'm having a little difficulty putting on the cover, and as you can see, I'm trying to figure out this is the way it goes. It basically only goes on one way, but it's a weird shape, so we have to figure it out. We're both trying to figure it out on both sides. But we're almost to the end of the video, and that's one of the last plastics to put on, is in the front there. And the power cord is going to be right where I'm working right now, where my hands are. That's where the power cord goes into. And I'm putting other plastic on. As you see, Kara has the power cord in her hands. The power cord is actually fairly small. It's only, I believe, only 5 feet long. So I connected another 12-foot cord of the same style, a black cord connected to it, and to extend it to go on the wall. If you have you definitely should plug it into a surge protector, because that's really important. So I'm putting that cover still on there, on the bottom, around the wheel bearing area. Missed one right there. These two screws are supposed to go in the incline, but we're going to take those out later on. Double check your pictures before putting them in, and take your time, but everything came together pretty quickly. Last step we got to do is turn the machine on, crank it all the way up to top incline, and put on the cover for the incline, and then we're all set. But overall, it's a great machine, and I'll do a review on it in my next video. But stay tuned for the very end, and we're going to put the cover on, and it'll be all set. I got to move her back to get it plugged in. The plug is actually in the front of the machine, on the side. And there's a nice handle on the back here for moving it. It's very heavy. As you can see, the plug is very short. You're not supposed to use the extension cord with this machine, but I'm going to anyway, because we're going to plug it into a surge protector. It mounts on the side here. That's the only downfall without having a self-propelled machine. So here we go. We're going to plug it in to extension cord, and then we'll be all set. Off from the side. There we go. Start her up. Be my guest. Crank her up. There we go. She's smooth as a top. It comes with lubrication. I'm assuming I have to read the manual for maintenance instructions, but you would lube the rails, lube the joints, and make sure you keep it nice and clean. You wipe it down with Simple Green and water, but you never want to wet the console too much. You always want to keep that dry, like a dry towel with a little bit of sanitizer on it would be fine. And we're going to increase the incline all the way up and put the cover on it. And the cover basically is this right here, this cover, so that covers the incline. We're going to bolt it down with the screws, and then we'll be all set. But I'm JC, and I thank you for watching the assembly, the long assembly of the E35 Sole Elliptical, and I'll see you next time for when I do a review on this machine. Thanks a lot, and please subscribe and stay in touch. Thank you, and ask any questions, and I'll see you next time. Take care, stay fit, and be well.